Outdoorsman of Reddit, what's your most terrifying encounter in the woods? A grown man taking a shit. When I was maybe 8 to 9, he was squatting in the trees of the trail, dressed in business casual. We made eye contact. He looked absolutely terrified, and I turned and started walking away. For some reason, he said, "Wait." I did not wait and took off running. He might have been some kind of pervert with a sinister post-dump plan, but I think he just panicked and probably didn't know why he said that. I like to imagine him fleeing through the woods, watching for the police and thinking, why the hell did I tell him to wait?
Story 2.
I used to go running with my dad a lot. We almost always brought our dog, because we would be running through fields and woods and stuff like that, and there were no people or cars around, so we always let her run without a leash. At about a quarter of the distance, there is a little river crossing the track with a sloping riverside path. The doggy loved to run ahead and jump straight into the water. On this day, however, we did not hear the usual splashing sounds, so we went a little faster. Well, we found the dog on the riverside path, with her nose deep between the butt cheeks of a completely naked man, who happened to take his no less naked female acquaintance in missionary there. Looks of mutual horror were thrown around until my dad called back our dog and we continued running while pretending that nothing has happened.
Story 3.
When I was like 14, I was hunting deer with my dad and heard a weird sizzle. I heard 2 more and my dad screamed at me to get down. It was the sound of another hunter shooting in our direction. He hadn't seen us despite the orange. I will never forget that sound. It's a very different experience being on the other end of the bullet.
Story 4.
Slipped and tumbled backwards head over heels down a rock face. There was about a 20-foot drop after that, but I got wedged in between a tree and a rock face. Ended up walking away with just a couple of bruises. Another time in the Sierra Nevadas, I fell through a hole that was covered in snow. My rifle stopped me from falling straight through and I yelled for help. When I was getting pulled out, all I saw was a black hole beneath me that covered in snow again. No idea how deep it was or if anyone would have heard me if I just poofed through the snow into a crevasse.
Story 5.
Had an overcurious bear climb up the tree I was in during a hunt, and man, I almost jumped out of the tree. He just wanted to say hi, but shit yo, I definitely was scared to death.
Story 6.
Bullets whizzing over my head. Some smooth brains were target shooting in the middle of an established hiking trail. It wasn't a one-off experience either.
Story 7.
On a trail in the Angeles National Forest with a friend, about a mile in, we hadn't seen anyone else since we entered. While rounding what we thought would be a secluded corner, my friend pulled out a joint and went to light it up. The noise of the lighter sparkling caused something up the trail to turn around quickly. I couldn't tell what it was right away because the lightning was dappled from the trees above and it was colored the same as the trail and rock. I grabbed my friend's arm and quietly said, "Stop, stand up, don't turn around and walk backwards slowly." About 30 feet in front of us was a cougar. Easily bigger than any dog I've ever seen, save a Great Dane or Bernese, but the musculature on it was otherworldly compared to any dog. It wasn't crouched like it was going to come after us. It was turned halfway, with its back arched, the way a house cat sizes up another house cat before they fight. We backed up staring at the thing for what felt like forever, but was only probably 3 to 4 seconds before it realized that we weren't coming towards it anymore and turned tail. Bounded up what I thought was a sheer 20-foot cliff. With such ease, it made my mind truly spin at the power of nature, and thankfully I wasn't asked to test it.
Story 8.
We were on a 2-family camping trip, and one by one everyone was coming down with a stomach flu. It didn't get to me until the last day we were there. We were out shooting at targets when it hit me hard. Obviously, no bathroom around, so we had to make do with a log. Floodgates opened and diarrhea everywhere. Then I felt a sharp pain in my leg. Then another one, and I stood up and realized I'd sat on a log with a wasp's nest in it. Got stung 5 to 6 times in addition to having the runs and later throwing up too.
Story 9.
In the 90s, I was on a week-long backpacking trip with my uncle in the Colorado high country. He was a professional rock climbing trail guide at the time, so he knew his stuff while off the grid. The second day in, we were following some old trail that hadn't been groomed in years and came across the outskirts of some random commune deep in the woods. We knew there were people there because we could see campfires and hear laughing and talking in the distance. My uncle immediately freaks out, tells me to keep quiet, and then made us backtrack nearly 5 miles and then around. It was the first and only time I've actually seen him panic off the grid. Afterward, he lectured me that it was some kind of small sect or cult that had a reputation for being very territorial in the area at the time and was known to shoot at trespassers without provocation.
I think it's 10 now.
When I was hunting in northern Michigan, I saw a clearly mentally ill guy wandering around mindlessly in the distance with a machete. Chills went straight down my spine and I got the hell out of there before we made eye contact. Just imagine how panicked I was finding my way out of the woods, hearing the leaves crunch and critters moving through the tall grass. And that was everything for this video. I hope you had a great time and thanks for watching.